Then again, yesterday, regarding the session yesterday, I have covered the entire overall process flow of the NAC, and in addition with some basic fundamentals about the NAC accreditation process. So today, actually, we are going in deep with the steps involved in the NAC accreditation process. So almost today's content is basically on started. It starts with the registration of your HEA. HEA is Higher Educational Institute. It is a common name. So initially, how to register your college in the NAC web portal. So after that, they will allocate a new an exclusive web portal for your college. So that is the first one. After that, we will go for the another steps one by one. Let us go for the presentation. I'll share the video, sorry, PPT. So welcome to the day 2 session. We'll go to the content. So again, this is again presented by myself. I'm Dr. T. Nadarajan. So Associate Professor Mechanical Engineering in Gopalan College of Engineering Management, Bangalore. So yesterday I forgot to mention my email ID and WhatsApp number. If you have any questions or clarification, if you want, you can use the WhatsApp group, and else if you want some exclusive or some personal issues regarding to your college, then you can contact through email and WhatsApp group of myself. This is what the actual schedule of the 5 days. Today we are going to cover the new revised accreditation framework 2020. So these are the content we are going to see today's topic. Then initially it starts with HEA registration portal. Then second one, in IIQA, institutional information for quality assessment. Third one, new revised manual for affiliated colleges. What are the manuals released by the NAC committee? Then fourth one starts with the very important one, self-study report for UG and PG colleges. So there are different variety of manuals are released by NAC for different variety of colleges. We are going to concentrate on the self-study report manual for the general colleges, that is UG and PG colleges, not for the university and autonomous colleges. Then inside that, it starts with the executive summary, profile and extended profile of the institution. Then quality indicator framework. It is a very important point in the SSR, since it is your examination paper, as we call it as examination paper. Then the criteria, key indicators, metrics and weightages, quantitative and qualitative metrics. So yesterday we have seen a little bit the amount of the quantitative QNM and QLM part. We'll detail, we can discuss. Then distribution of the metrics and KIs, key indicators across the each criteria. Actually, yesterday we have discussed about the allocation of the ratio of QNM and QLM part as 70-30. But today we will going to see that how the exact percentage of allocation of QNM and QLM. So at the end of the session, we are planning for a question answer. So that's it. We will go for. This is the actually overall NAC online assessment and accreditation process. A and A means assessment and accreditation process. So the overall the sequence of the steps start with the HEA registration. Since after 2017, NAC they completely reframed the entire applied application and the assessment accreditation process as online, so that it is very essential to register your college in the NAC web portal. The registration process, it is a kind of around it will take only half an hour, 30 minutes it requires, but you need some few basic details for registering your institution in the web portal. So that once you registered, you may get the login credentials. So after that, you can enter to the your college web portal. Let us go for the HEA registration process first. So registration takes, there are two kind of institutions are there. Either you are going for applying the very first time, that is cycle 1, so that maybe you need to enter a few details about your college. Then second case, if you got registration in previous accreditation process, now you are going for renewal process after 5 years based on the new accreditation process. That's what is for new accreditation. You need to register your institution in the NAC portal. So that both cycle 1 and cycle 2 colleges, it is mandatory to register yourself in the portal. So that only thing additional, so cycle 2 colleges, they have to give some additional details about the previous accreditation details and grading, etc. So after registration, NAAC will verify your submitted details, and based on that, they will activate the login credentials for your, for example, username and password for your particular college. And the final one, institution, then after that, institution can access the complete college details and the various application portals in the NAAC portal. So this is what the overall procedure. And before going to do that, who will do this process? That is a big question, right? Usually, all the colleges, they have, if they are willing to go for accreditation process, usually the second cycle IQAC will take care of that overall registration and other processes. But if you are in first cycle, then you need to create an IQAC cell, and then IQAC coordinator is the responsible person to register all these things. Or else, if you are not if you are not created this IQAC cell earlier, then you can allocate one NAAC overall coordinator. Then he will take care of this all kind of these things. Then go to the next one. The first step, we need to fill the registration form. So for that NAAC portal, you need to go in website. So in that, you can see here a login logo is there. You just click that. Inside that, you can find two things. One is HEI's portal and another one is assessor portal. So HEI's portal is applicable for colleges. Assessors is meant for the peer team members. So that you just go inside the HEI portal. So if you select that, you can see that HEI login is there. Inside that, you can see enter institutional email and enter password. If you already registered, then you can enter through this portal. But if you are a new one, then again you need to go for new registration. Now we go for the new registration process. You just select this new registration icon. Then after that, you can enter to the next one. So if you are if you are in a first cycle, then that means you are a fresh candidate. Then you can you are asked to fill these fundamental details, name of the institution. Here you can find the question mark. If you select, if you place the cursor here, then you can. This is the tooltip icon. You can get the clarification regarding this data. Then next one, institution type. Institution type, they will ask whether your institution is autonomous institution or university or affiliated colleges, like that, basically. Then the next one, MHRD, AI, SHE ID. Yesterday I mentioned this one during my presentation. So this is the mandatory requirement for each and every college, those who are aspiring to get the NAAC accreditation process. So already most of the 99% of the colleges, they have registered through MHRD, AISHE portal. So you need to just enter the two things here. This is the alphabetical, either A, B, C is there, and the 5-digit ID is there. So you can easily get this MHRD, AISHE ID through website also. You can go to the MHRD website and you can get the ID also. Then the another one, institutional email ID. You just give your institution email ID, not the common principal email ID or any coordinator email ID. Institution domain should be there. So that is very important. So NAAC will communicate all their communication through this institutional email ID only. Next one, again re-enter. Then mobile number for communication. This for this thing, you can give the official contact number of your college, preferably principal number as a mobile number. Then another one, are you previously accredited? There are two options is there. You are in cycle 1, so that you can give no. If you are cycle 2 renewal, cycle 3 accordingly, then you can give yes. So first we will see how you can give no, then you can proceed. Then we will go to the next. It will enter to the next one. Suppose if you are in the cycle 2, then you have to give yes. So both the things are same. If you proceed, then it will come like this. So those who are in cycle 2, they need to enter few more details. Next cycle of accreditation, cycle 2. So cycle 3, accordingly you can enter the appropriate cycle. Then previous email ID, okay, what are all the email ID you given during the previous accreditation process, you have to give that. Then college establishment date, state and city, this and all, you know that. Then previous accreditation details, this is very important. So you need to mention the previous assessment date. It may available in your previous grade report. Then grade obtained, what are the grade obtained? Then you need to attach the supporting document as a proof, right? So final grade documentation will be supplied by NAAC during your cyclone accreditation. That document you need to PDF, you make a PDF and you need to upload here. After that, some declaration is there. Then after that, you can directly register the process. Next one, once you get registered, NAAC verifies your details. Then after that, they will send immediately, maybe within a couple of minutes, they will send the mail to you that your application for registration with NAAC process is submitted. Then after that, NAAC will send a verification mail and it will send the confirmation mail also. Now you are successfully registered. Then finally, they will send the username and password. And one link is also provided by NAAC. You have to choose that link to ensure that your login credential are okay or not. Then based on that, you can enter to the portal. So once very first you entered, then after that you can change this password. This is the old password. We can change after that. Go to the next one. So once you get the login credentials, again you can go to this portal, right? Again same portal. Then you can enter your login credential and password, and one CAPTCHA is there. You can enter and you can enter through login. So this is what an example portal for the HEI. This is what our college portal. Once you enter through that, your college name will appear here. Then your college appropriate AASHE ID also will appear here. Your registered mail ID will comes here, right? Also here you can find your college name. And this is what the complete portal for applying the entire thing, whatever we discussed earlier, IIQA, SSR, and the DVV process. The entire from the starting to getting the grading of the institution, even after that renewal of the process, everything you can do by using this web portal only. So that this is very important thing. Creation of your exclusive web portal and login credentials is very important. So that initially you may see that there is no application status not started yet. So once you are once you applied all these things, you may get the update here. Then here in the left side you can see the menu. In that dashboard is the dashboard thing, and here you can see manage IIQA, manage SSR. If you select this, it's a tree-based menu. You can see that inside that many menus are there. Then DVV process, manage assessment is there. You can go for appeal also. Appeal after grading. If you are not satisfied, you can go for appeal. AQAR is applicable for those who are going for the after grading. Every year you need to upload the AQAR report, annual quality assurance report. So that that is also possible in this portal. Then reports you can after applying IIQA report will be generated. After applied SSR unique report will be generated. That and all it is saved in this portal. Then one important thing is support and help desk is there. I will tell in the upcoming slides. Some few guidelines also there. Let us go for the next one. Yeah, here after registering your basic details, you need to manage or you need to update few of your college details, like kind of principal name, and they have asked few details regarding the IQAC name of the IQAC coordinator and their designation. These details they will ask. Again, you need to edit and you need to update. And one more thing, bank account details. Since NAAC they have changed the payment method as online, so you need to pay for IIQA and SSR for all the other NAAC processes. You need to pay through the online portal, so that your bank account detail also you need to upload here. Then you can make an updation. Next one. Yeah, let us go for the very first step of the NAAC accreditation process. We call it as Institutional Information for Quality Assessment, IIQA. So in my opinion, IIQA is it's a kind of simple thing. Since it requires a few fundamental details, then I think it may require only few days. Within a week of days, within a 5 days duration, you can prepare all the details required for IAQA. Let us go for the preparation of IAQA. So that is that is the first step in the NAAC process, IAQA submission. So let us go for the IAQA submission, how we can prepare the IAQA. So the basic requirements for the filling of IAQA is basic eligibility, then affiliation compliance, profile information, academic information they will ask, then quality information. We'll see one by one. Yeah, this is the overall process of IAQA submission process. Filling IAQA and uploading your supporting documents is the major process is expected from the HEI. Then after that, you need to upload. After uploading IAQA in the web portal, you need to pay the IAQA fees. As I mentioned earlier, it is around 25,000 plus GST. It will come. Then you need to submit the IAQA in the portal. After that, after payment, then NAAC will verify your IAQA and they will submit the clarification queries. So if you missed to submit any data or supporting documents, NAAC will ask clarification to you. Then they have given some few 2 days or 3 days time for receiving the clarification from your end. So that based on your clarification, they will verify the entire IAQA. Then based on the verification, they will accept or reject your IAQA based on your data submitted. This is what the overall process. Then we'll go for the major one, how to fill the IAQA and upload in the web portal. So again, you can go here in the NAAC home page. You can see in apply online icon is here. You can select here, then go inside. So here you can find the various support, various guidelines and various formats which is applicable for NAAC assessment and accreditation process. Here you can find all the formats which is uploaded by NAAC. Here you can see the IAQA thing. Yeah, you can see the IAQA for university, college. So mostly you can choose the IAQA user manual for college. If you are in first cycle, you can choose this one. So I'll show some few formats for the IAQA application. I'll show that. Just a minute. Yeah. This is what the format for IAQA. The very first thing is your eligibility of the institution, that based on your establishment date. You can see the here establishment of the institution. Then they will ask the basic information about your college, address of the college, alternate faculty contact details. They also asked. In that you can give either IQAC coordinator or your NAAC coordinator details. So another one is also basic eligibility, whether your college completed 6 years of existence. Nature of the college, it is whether it is an university or autonomous or affiliated, or college affiliated, that also they will ask. Affiliated university details. So these are some basic accreditation details, whether your college is having 2F and 12B sanctioned by UGC, whether you are autonomous or your college is a potential for excellence, center for potential for excellence, then our college of excellence you got. So these and all, if you are not applicable, you can give no. Then college offering any programs recognized by SRA, statutory regulatory authority. That means either your programs are approved by AICTE or UGC or etc. Then this is regarding the program, whether you are offered the number of programs offered, how many number of UG programs you offered, how many PG programs you offered, then post master's degree, then postdoctoral degree, MPhil programs, then doctoral degree, PhD, any DSc or D literatures. Any certificate programs are you offered, or diploma programs, that also you can include here. Another one, program details. So you need to enter the program, various programs offered by you, UG or PG programs, in which department it offers. Then university affiliation, SRA recognition is there, affiliation status. It requires the present affiliation status. Then you need to upload some few supporting documents also. This is about the teacher information. Then number of teaching staff by employment status, total number of teaching staff by the male and female gender category, transgender also they have introduced. Then number of non-teaching faculty members, you need to add some few technical faculty members and a few laboratory instructors also. Then the 24th one, number of students enrolled, student wise total enrolled. This means that is the total studying students, presently studying student detail they have asked. That is also from male and female wise they have asked. Then another one, does the institution have statutory cells and committees? So this is another very important thing, since NAAC they have asked few cells should be established in the institutions as mandatory. I'll tell you few things, that is SCST cell and OBC cell and what we call woman empowerment cell, some ragging, anti-ragging cell. These are the few mandatory cells they have asked in your institution. You need to give few details about that. And date of establishment of IQAC, if you are in the first cycle, maybe you are in the fresh applicant, IQAC is not mandatory. Actually, it is not function. It should be, you should be established the IQAC, but it should not be. It may not be a functional one. But if you are in the second cycle, IQAC should be a functional one. It should be a mandatory one. So my suggestion regarding this is, if you are going for accreditation, at least before 6 months or before 1 year, you need to establish the IQAC shell, and exclusive IQAC coordinator you can assign. That's what my suggestion. Then, has the institution made statutory declaration for RTI? That RTI information I'll show one example. Then does the college have an academic MOE with foreign institution? If you made any MOE with foreign institution, that also you can mention. Date of uploading data in the MHRD website for AISHE data. So this is very important. So you need to upload the AISHE latest uploaded data as a certificate you got. Then you need to upload that also. I'll show at the end of this presentation. I'll show a few examples. Then attach undertaking certification from the head of the institution. Then finally registration fee details. This is what the actual format, but the original format in the NAAC portal is slightly differed from this one. This is a PDF. I'll show the few filled details of our college. Quickly, I'll show this. You can see college details, date of establishment. So ours, we have established our institution in 2010. So almost 10 years we crossed. So this is the principal detail. Then after that, you can give the alternate faculty detail. Here I am the overall coordinator of NAAC, so that I have given my name as alternate faculty and my contact details. And you can go here. It is affiliated to university, Visvesvaraya University. Other things, these are all not applicable by our college, so that we can put no. So it is the statutory body which our college is affiliated to is approved by AICTE. That supporting documents also we can attach. So we offered only 5 UG programs, so that, and 4 doctoral programs. So we have not offered any PG programs, so that we are coming under, actually we are coming under UG, but since we are offering a research program, so that we are in the considered as PG colleges, not UG colleges. So next one, program details. What are all the UG and PG programs offered by our institution? Then you can give that details. Then a number of teaching faculty, non-teaching faculty, total number of students, 614 students. So this is what I mentioned earlier. So these are some few basic required mandatory committees which should be constituted in our college. So SEST, Grievances Redressal Committee, IC, Internal Compliance Committee for Women, Anti-Ragging Committee. These are the things. Then establishment of IQAC. Then few RTA and other details I'll show as a PDF. Let us go for the next one. So these are the few attachment supporting documents for supporting your data submitted for IIQA. I'll show one by one. University affiliation, you know that usually what are all the university affiliated by you, then you need to show the latest affiliation document by the university. That is the first attachment. Second one, the latest AICTE approval of your programs that you need to upload. Third one, PhD research approval. Actually, initially what we did is we made a mistake. For supporting our PhD program, we forgot to upload this PhD research approval document. I'll show that. Research center approval document is mandatory for IIQA, but unfortunately we forgot to upload. So during the clarification by NAAC, they have sent a clarification regarding to upload this supporting document. After that, we uploaded. Then the next one, self-declaration by the principal. You need to, the principal is asked to submit a self-declaration regarding these. These are all the UG and PG programs offered by our college and duration with their status of affiliation, temporary or permanent, with the principal signature in the letterhead. Another one, RTA declaration. This is also a mandatory one. So you need to upload this RTA declaration in your college website. I need to mention one more thing before going to apply IIQA. You need to create an exclusive NAAC web tab in your college web portal. Inside that, what are all the documents, supporting documents you are uploading? You just upload that particular documents, and you can give the web link and you can paste in the appropriate place in the application. This is what the RTA format. This format is also available in NAAC. You can download and you can create like this. Another one, AISHE certificate. I'll show the certificate for our college. So once you upload, every year you need to upload the few academic details about your college in MHRD portal. So after uploading, you will receive this certificate from MHRD, right? So you need to upload the latest certificate you received for the particular academic year. Another one, undertaking from the head of the institution. So this undertaking, you are declaring that your college is affiliated to your particular university, then it is approved by AICTE and all. Then one more thing, you have to give a declaration regarding, this is what the declaration regarding, this is a kind of IP address of the particular system, whether you are uploading all the documents and other data to the NAAC accreditation process. So that better you can provide this the IP address of your principal system or IQAC coordinator, anyone. So these are all the supporting documents required for submitting IIQA. Next we will move for the another one. So once you prepared all these data and supporting documents, how you can upload these data and documents to the NAAC portal. In the NAAC portal, you can see the manage IIQA here. Yeah, manage IIQA. Then inside that, prepare IIQA is there. You just, if you select that, then you can find the same data required as already seen in the NAAC format. The same thing is opened in NAAC portal also. You can just enter whatever the data you prepared. And supporting document also you can add in the appropriate places. And one more thing, better you can keep all the supporting documents in PDF format, that is within less than 5 MB is applicable for all documents. And making payment also you can do through this web portal. Through any nowadays you know that many payment processes is there. You can use a credit card or anything, any mode of payment you can pay. After that, receipt will be generated automatically. Then you need to submit IIQA here. You just submit that. Then one more thing here, you can find view IIQA clarifications. So once you submitted, NAAC will go through your entire IIQA. Then based on that, if you miss to provide any data or supporting documents, then they will ask some clarifications to the HEA, where you can see the clarification. I'll show that. If you select this view IIQA clarifications, yeah, this is what the actually your submission application portal for IAQA, it will show like this only. You need to enter the data like this, and you can, whenever you want, this contains many pages, more than 5 pages. You can save this. Here you can see the percentage of completion. If it shows 100%, then the process gets over. Then here you can see the view filled details of your IAQA, and you can view the IAQA compliance also. And regarding the getting clarification from NAC end, they have provided an exclusive tab for that, support and help desk tab. So whenever if you have any questions, for example, in our side, we need a clarification from the NAC side. Since last year during 2018-19, we have introduced a new course like BE Aeronautical Engineering in our college. Our question is whether we are applying for NAC and we have to submit the last 5-year data, academic year data. In that we have not having any data regarding the aeronautical engineering. So our question is whether we need to include the newly introduced course to the IAQA or not. So we need to ask this clarification so that we are using this portal. Then here you can select the category. In that many categories are there: technical issue, financial. So we are applying our clarification through IIQA filling. So during that only we got some clarification. So you can select the priority here. Priority is either your priority is high, medium or low. Either you can ask more than 5 or 6 questions also you can ask at a time simultaneously, but you have to set the priority level. Then some supporting documents also you can add for that particular thing. Yeah, we have submitted through IAQA filling. We are asking this question, including new aeronautical program. Our priority level is medium. Then during IAQA filling, need a clarification on closure of MBA program. Earlier we have offered this MBA PG program, but few years back, due to the lack of admission, we have closed the MBA program. Most of the colleges, this kind of scenario will happen since they have introduced new courses and they have closure of the old courses will happen. So what is the status of the MBA program? Then we need to upload or not. That is also our clarification. We need a clarification regarding that. So we have uploaded 2 clarifications. So after that, within next day itself, we received the clarification from the NAC end. Like this is what the question asked by ourselves. Then the response received from the NAC is this one. So immediately within a day, you can receive the response from the NAC end. So NAC advised all the institutions do not submit the clarifications through a personal mail or any other mode of thing. Then you need to contact the NAC office through this support or help desk portal only, through your exclusive college portal only. So the next one, this is what the confirmation mail received from the NAC end. Thank you for your interest for assessment. Then you have successfully submitted your IAQA. This message you received from the, once you submitted, immediately you may receive this confirmation mail from the NAC end. Yeah. So after submission, NAC will process your IAQA application. It may take around 10 to 15 days of time. Within 7 days of duration, you may receive a kind of clarification. You may or may not receive the clarification. It depends on the data you submitted. For example, we received a clarification for our IAQA. That is, the remark is, you have not submitted the supporting document for your PhD program. That's what they mentioned. So I already mentioned that we have not submitted that. So after that, what we did now, we have submitted our supporting copy of the PhD programs, research approval copy. Through the same web portal you can offer. NAC allowed to edit your IAQA during that time. Then you can upload the supporting document and you can give the word text response also. Okay. So after submitting your clarification, it will take few more days. And within 10 to 15 days, you may receive the yeah, this is what the actual your mail confirmation mail that says your yes, your IAQE has been accepted and submission of self-study report you can do. That's what the confirmation mail. Along with you may receive one track ID. This track ID is very important one. So this is what the unique ID given to your college for this particular process. That is SSR. So one important thing I need to convey this, yesterday also I mentioned that submission of IAQA is not at all a problem. So you can submit at any time, no issue. So from after June month, you can submit any time during the entire academic year, you may submit. The problem is once you submitted within 10 to 15 days of time, you may receive the acceptance mail like this. Then after that, from this date of when the date of receiving this mail, 45 days time is there for submitting the SSR. So it is a kind of whenever you receive the mail, this mail, then your time starts for submitting the SSR. Even after the next day itself, when you receive the IAQA confirmation, after the next day also you may submit your SSR. So that's what the thing, you should know one thing. But the maximum time duration, earlier they have given 30 days. Now they have extended into 30 to 45 days. So that within a 45 duration of time, you need to submit your complete SSR through the NAAC portal. So in my opinion, you just before submitting IAQA, you just better keep at least 80% of your supporting documents of SSR and all the details. Make ready, then you can go for submission of IAQA. Then only within 45 days of time, you may complete the rest of the SSR documents. Then you can submit. Or else you got the IAQA acceptance and some unfortunately you are not able to submit the SSR within 45 days of time. What it will happen, then again your IAQA gets cancelled. Then within this your IAQA, yeah, within a 6 month of duration, again you need to resubmit your IAQA. Again you have to repay all these things, kind of tedious process. So that better you should aware of this alert one. Then another chance is your IAQA may get rejected also. That option is also there. In that case, it may get rejected due to lack of supporting documents, or your college maybe some of the programs are still it is pending for affiliation or some approval. So that kind of thing you may rectify, and with this the single payment you may apply for 3 times. This is the first time you applied, then again 2 times they are giving chance to apply the IAQA with the same payment. Then that you can do at any time, no issues. Yeah, next we will go for the self-study report. This is very important one, since in overall NAAC assessment accreditation process, self-study report is it occupies the major portion, nearly 80% of the effort from the college. So you should be very careful for preparing the NAAC self-study report. So that's why I put attention. So self-study report, preparation of self-study report, you can see fill SSR and upload the data files and as per templates. This step is very important step, and it takes most of your time for this assessment process. Then since it directly involves the evaluation of CGPA, so that you should be very careful for preparing SSR. So mostly college they have the kind of responsibility to fill the SSR carefully. Even all the faculty members, they should carefully prepare all their allotted documents without any error. Then only we can get the good response from the NAAC end. Then the other process are, once you prepared and submitted, you can pay the SSR payment fees online. That's what from our college end. Then rest of the process will take into care of NAAC. These processes I will explain in my later session. Next we will go for the SSR one. So SSR, I already mentioned the new revised framework is released on from July 2017 onwards. At that time they have released a kind of manual for all colleges. Again from this January 2020, again they have revised the manual for SSR. So this is what the circular given by the NAC regarding that one new manual released during the January 2020. So all the HEIs who are applying for assessment process starting with IAQA after January 2020, so they have to apply through the revised manual only. And another case, those who already submitted IAQA, that is before January 2020, that means 2019, even in December also, if you submitted IAQA already, then that old manual is applicable for you. So those who are coming after January 2020, 1st January, only new manual is applicable. So next one, in the NAC web portal, you can see apply online. That you can find the variety of manuals for different kind of institutions. Here you can see the revised manual for general institutions. There are 3 different manuals are uploaded. Even both PDF and Word file you can access. Here you can see it is for university and it is for autonomous college. And the third one is applicable for revised manual for affiliated and constituent, university constituent colleges. Both UG and PG separately they have given the PDF files for the manual. It is updated on 4th February 2020. This is what the latest. And I suggest all the colleges, if you want to apply for this NAC, SSR and other things, better you can search the NAC website to get the latest updated manuals. Then manual for health science institutions is there, Sanskrit institutions also there, Open University also there, dual mode university. In addition to that, if you are from teacher education institutions and you have to choose the particular appropriate manual for your college. So how to get the formats and other things regarding the SSR manual, we'll go through quickly. So again, as usual, you can go through apply online. If you select that NAC portal, so you can get the supporting all the supporting formats and some data formats in Excel file, PDF, Word files, all the things appropriate to the SSR you can get from the NAC portal. You can see here. And for affiliated colleges, even PDF and Word file also is there. There are 3 kind of documents are there. One is this manual, PDF and Word. Second one is extended profile templates is there. It is an Excel file. And the third one is data template is there. So usually in the SSR, you need to upload your data as an Excel file and the supporting documents as PDF file. So that's what the thing. Data templates also they have given. You just take the entire data templates. You can utilize that. Only thing you need to fill the data templates. And another one, SOP. SOP is the standard operating procedure for the colleges. So I'll show the PDF of FOP later in the next, maybe tomorrow's session. It is a kind of guidelines given to both DVV partners and both the colleges. While you are preparing the data and supporting documents, you have to ensure that whether your prepared data and supporting documents is in line with the SOP. Let us go for the another one. I'll show the kind of PDF here. Yeah, it is the manual, SSR manual for the affiliated and constituent colleges. It's a kind of 185 page PDF file. You can see it contains all the guidelines and some formats also there. Overall, we can classify the SSR self-study report, which contains the data requirements for the self-report, which contains only 5 things. List one by one. Executive summary of your institution, profile of the institution, then extended profile of the institution. Profile and extended profile, there is a difference. I'll tell you later. Then 4th one is a very important one, quality indicator framework. It is a very important thing, since that is your examination paper. Then the 5th one, data templates and the supporting documents for the quantitative metrics. So quantitative metrics, they ask we asked to provide some data templates is there, and additionally supporting documents also there. The fourth and fifth one, which influencing your CGPA and grading. Yeah, first we will go to the executive summary. Actually, in the NAAC SSR portal, this is the first one, executive summary. And in my opinion, you can fill this executive summary at the end of the preparation of SSR. See, once you should start with the preparation of QNM and QLM and other supporting documents. So at the end of the for all the 7 criteria you need to prepare. Then at the end of the thing, you may prepare the executive summary. But this is in the NAAC portal, it is available in the first one. So it contains introductory note of your college, of the institution, location, vision, mission, and other details. Then it has some brief report about that. Then criterion wise summary, within 250 words you need to make criterion wise summary. You at the end of, after preparing your entire criteria wise supporting documents, then only you are able to make a write up of each criterion wise thing, so that you can make at the end. Then brief note on strength, weakness, opportunities and challenges, that this SWOT analysis you have to do after preparing your SSR. Then you can make a consolidated report. Then any additional information also you may and additionally you can submit to the NAAC. So an overall conclusive explanation also you can give. So the total executive summary, it should not exceed 5,000 words. There is a word limit also is there. See, in criterion wise summary also, it should not exceed 250 words. Next, we will go for the profile of the institution. They are not providing, NAAC will not provide any weightage or marks for these things. For example, executive summary or profile of the institution, extended profile. They have not provided any weightage or CGPA. Only your in SSR, only your quality indicator framework will get the total weightage, and that QAF is evaluated by the DVB partner and the peer team visit. So profile of the institution you have to submit. They will ask only few data regarding the profile of your college. The very first thing is basic information, and another one is academic information. So we'll see a few template of this profile of the institution. Page number 39 to 44. Yeah. So this is what the profile of the institution. You can see basic, it will ask the basic information. For communication, you need to give the principal, vice principal, IQAC coordinator details, status of the college, then type of the institution, whether your college is recognized as minority institution. It will ask some details with the extended from the IIQA already submitted few details. The same thing they ask, and in addition to that, they will ask few other details also. Sources of funding, whether you are self-financing or aided college, date of establishment, 2F and 12B date of getting the sanction, UGC recognition, then details of the statutory authority bodies recognition, then you can see the autonomous status, whether your college is CPE recognized, any location of the campus also they will ask. In campus area, built up area also they will ask from rural or urban. Then these are the program details of the programs offered by the college. Give the data for the current academic year. In the NAAC, current academic year means it is the last year of the 5-year duration. For example, if you are applying NAAC accreditation during this academic year, during 2020-21, then the current academic year means 2019-20. Okay, so all the programs you need to apply here, few duration, and some students admitted details. The number of programs offered, self-finance programs offered, new programs introduced during the last 5 years, that also you need to mention. Then list of departments. In even arts and science colleges, they have departments. In that, they have each department, they may offer variety of UG and PG programs and research programs. So like botany, history, like that. So you need to mention that also. Number of teaching and non-teaching position, you need to fill the sanctioned post by UGC and how many faculties are already recruited and how many faculties are yet to recruit, that also you need to mention. Then qualification of the teaching staff, yeah, from the highest qualification, PhD, MPhil or PG, what are, how many professors are there, male and female segregation also there, then associate professors, assistant professor, in total how many faculties are there. Some of the institutions, they have allocated visiting faculty or guest faculty they have engaged, that detail also they have asked. In NAC, if that they have used a kind of word full-time teachers, that means excluding the visiting faculty and guest faculty only. Full-time teachers means at least minimum 1 year duration they have to work in the particular institution for a as a full-time mode, not as a visiting or guest faculty. Here they will ask some details about the students, number of students studying in the year 1, year 2, year 3 and year 4. Year 1 and year 2, year 3, year 4 means the academic last 4 academic year, not the present year, last 4 academic year, and current year means the previous academic year. So you need to give the student details. And yeah, this is one kind of unit cost of education they have provided, they have submitted on formula. Then you, based on that, you can calculate the unit salary of your college. You can see the formula also, it is here. And this is applicable for mostly for the second say, those who are for applying for the renewal of the NAC. They have to submit the cycle 1 and cycle 2 details, then date of establishment of IQAC cell. And this is also applicable for the second cycle colleges. After getting the NAC grade during the first cycle, after that every year you need to upload the AQAR report for upcoming 4 years. So after at the end of the 4th year, again you need to go for a revision of your or renewal of your NAC accreditation process, so that during that renewal application you need to submit the 4 years of AQAR report previously. That's it. So this is what the filled format for our college. Quickly I will show that. So you can see this is the final downloaded format after you applied all this data and documents. You may download the entire submitted details as a PDF format. Faculty details. Like that you may receive the PDF in your SSR. Next we will go to the extended profile of the institution. The basic difference between the profile of the institution and the extended profile. Profile, it has some basic fundamental requirements of the college and students information, faculty and etc. But this extended profile is directly influencing and it is used in the calculation of marks, CGPA for each metrics which is submitted in the QAF. So I will show one by one. So extended profile, usually they will ask some few numbers, datas, and in addition to that, a supporting document as an Excel file. Extended profile contains all the questions which are basically the figures of denominators of the formulas used for calculation of various metric values. So I'll show few examples. Here you can see. It is the one example for the extended profile of the institution. In the 3.1, they will ask the number of courses offered by your institution for the last 5 years. See, last 5 academic year data it will ask during your submission of SSR. For example, it starts from 2018-19 and 17-18 and 16-17 accordingly, 5 years. So you need to provide the number of courses offered. In NAAC, course means subjects. What are all the subjects you are teaching the particular course? Program means be mechanical or civil. It is the program. So that how many number of courses you offered during this. For example, I am telling 2018-19 in my program I have offered around see in each curriculum it may around 50 to 60 courses are there. You may put 60. So that's what this is the overall number, total number, this for particular academic year. You can see an example for a quantitative metric here. In 1.3.2, they are asking average percentage of courses that include some project work or field work, internship during the last 5 years. So during the evaluation of your metric, they will ask based on this formula only they will evaluate. Actually, the formula is how to calculate the percentage per year. See, every year you can see year-wise data is there. Here you are entering the number of particular year. That number is reflected in this formula. I will show by highlighted one. Here you can see number of courses in all programs. This number of courses is taken from whatever the data submitted here. This is directly taken by the system itself. It will automatically take that value, particular value, and submit here. Once this value is submitted, this the numerical the numerator value whatever we submitted during our SSR preparation, that value also automatically extracted by NAAC itself. Then automatically this formula is fed into the system. Then the system will automatically calculate the percentage per year data. Then after that, the another formula is if you calculate the percentage per year, there are 5 years are there, 5 academic years. Based on the 5-year data calculated by this formula, it is aggregated or taken as an average, and finally the average percentage is calculated based on the 5-year academic data. So that overall the use of the extended profile is to submit the value for the denominator purpose. I'll show one more example. Then you can, this is for program 3.2. It asks students data. The number of hello. 3.2. You can see the number of students year wise during last 5 years. For example, 2018-19, how many number of students studied in your college? For example, for all the 4 years in all the programs. So that you should enter the total number of students studied during the entire academic year. That means from the first year to final year. So here you can see a kind of metric, average percentage of students enrolled in add-on or certificate programs as against the total number of students during the last 5 years. So here also you can see that in the formula, denominator is the total number of students across all the programs. So this, the data required for the particular, so that each 5 academic year data is taken here and the percentage per year is calculated based on the denominator data by the extended profile. Then it is multiplied by 100. Finally, we got the percentage per year. Then after that, it is aggregated and average percentage is evaluated. This is how the extended profile data is useful for calculating the metrics. So that you have to give the precise data while submitting the extended profile. Third one is another example. It is a kind of teachers data. Total number of full-time teachers offered. See, in this metric, it is used in the denominator like this. Number of full-time teachers is in the denominator. Out of that, how many faculty they are doing, they have the PhD qualification. So that from that they can calculate the percentage of PhD faculty per year. Based on that, they will evaluate the average percentage by taking the aggregate. So this formula and all only for your reference only they are giving in the NAAC portal. So you no need to calculate any, you no need to submit the data, and you no need to calculate any formula thing for ensuring the metric weightage. So in the NAC, if you submit the data and the other things, it will automatically process all your data and the supporting numbers, numerical data, all the things. Then automatically the percentage will comes to your portal. This is what regarding the extended profile. I need to show few examples of the extended profile. Affiliated colleges. I'll show the few supporting documents that the extended profile what we submitted. It's a kind of document file, so that it is taking a little bit time. Okay, or else we'll move to the next one. This is what the extended profile template. Yeah. Here you can see the templates provided by the NAC for submitting the supporting data for the extended profile. So you can see one by one, 1.1, all the files are available in the single Excel file. So 1.1, which list, it shows the list of courses offered during the last 5 years. 2.1, students enrolled. Then 2.2, it is the reserved category details, and the number of outgoing final year students detail, exclusive detail. Few of the metrics it requires final year details. 3.1, it is the number of full-time teachers detail, and 3.2 is the number of sanctioned post year wise during the last 5 years. We have seen the different data required for the extended profile, and in addition to that, some of you of the supporting Excel document file also there. I think before going for the preparation of QAF documents, better you can prepare these fundamental documents required for your college, so that it is very easy to evaluate yourself how we can get the weightage for the each metric. That all you can manually. It is a simple formula only. It's a numerator and denominator multiply formula only, so that easily you can evaluate, approximately you can evaluate the particular metric weightage for your college. Then okay, that's it for this one, and we'll go for the another one, which is a very important one, examination paper we call it as, that is quality indicator framework, QIF. Yeah, next one. Quality indicator framework is the a very important one in the SSR format. Why I am telling is all the 7 criteria, we have key indicators and the appropriate lineated to the metrics. So all the metrics are divided into only 2 categories, that is quantitative and qualitative metrics. I'll show the criterion wise key indicators and weightages in this PDF. We'll quickly see that. This is applicable for all the 3 colleges. See, we have 7 criteria. Each criteria is delineated into variety of key indicators. Under each key indicators, there are few quantitative and few qualitative metrics are there that we will discuss later. So these are the weightage allocated for university and autonomous and affiliated colleges. See, here you can see it is not applicable for affiliated colleges. That first key indicator, curriculum design and development. Mostly the university and autonomous, they are having more flexibility for designing the curriculum and selecting the courses, all in addition related activities, so that they have not given weightage for this kind of key indicators to the affiliated colleges. Same way here, curricular planning and implementation, they are giving weightage to only affiliated colleges, not for university and autonomous institutions. So that it depends on the nature of the university, nature of the college, the nature of the thing. The total weightage allocated to each criteria is varied accordingly. See, here it is first criteria only 100, but university and autonomous colleges, they may get 150. Same way, teaching learning process is a very essential important process for affiliated colleges, so that they are giving weightage, more weightage, 350 around overall it is 1000 weightage, around 350 weightage is given to teaching learning process. Then we'll go for the research and innovation and extension activities. There they are giving weightage to more weightage to universities and very less weightage to UG programs. So that physical facility, almost all the colleges they have allocated the same weightage. Then the fifth one, student support. In the UG college it is 140 and PG college it is little bit low, 130. Management part of view, all the 4 colleges they have allocated the same thing. And the final one, institutional value and best practices adopted in your college, also the same weightage. So mostly the weightage variation is happening in the first and second and fifth criteria. Yeah, we'll go to the next one. As I already mentioned, the metrics which consist of quantitative and qualitative metrics. Overall, in the percentage, we can call it as percentage of questions or percentage of metric. It is a different thing is there. I'll show one by one. 70% of is occupied by PNM, and rest of the 30% is occupied by PLM. Sir, can you mute all the participants? Yeah. Usually each matrix which contains only 3 data. One is data required. What is the kind of data? That is a number. Then what is the formula used for calculating the information wherever required? And the third one, file description for uploading the document wheresoever is required. These are the few data usually required. I'll show the SSR manual. Then after that, I'll show some few analysis status of that SSR. From the page number 46, you can refer this. You can see the quality indicator framework. In that, qualitative and quantitative metrics are there. Your manual contains the QAF part in 2 categories. One is UG colleges. You should carefully refer the manual. This is for applicable for UG colleges. There are certain differences between the metrics in UG and PG colleges, so that you have to choose appropriately. Whether your college comes under UG college, then you can choose. You can refer this this as a reference. Then if you are a PG candidate, then after the UG manual, you can refer below that. You can see the 7th criteria. You can see the PG manual. I'll show here. Yeah. Here you can see the reference manual for the PG colleges. There are few differences are there. Let us see one by one. See here, this is the kind of criteria, and it is delineated to key indicator, and again it is divided to metric. So metric number is indicated by 3 numbers. One is first one is criteria number, and second one is key indicator number 1.1. Third one is metric number. So that this key indicator 1.1, under that you can see 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. Totally 3 metrics are there. Okay. So this is the actual metric or questionnaire we can see, and weightage allocated for the particular metric is given here, 10 weightage. Overall, this key indicator having 20 weightage, and all the key, when you are accumulating all the key indicators in this particular criteria, finally it comes 100 weightage. And here they mention whether the particular metric comes under qualitative or quantitative metrics. So first one comes under qualitative, since they are expecting your response in words like 500 within 500 words as a description, so that it comes under qualitative. Same way, this also comes under qualitative metrics. Here you can see another example for quantitative metrics. Why it is quantitative metrics means they are asking the numbers. Here number of teachers participated. They are asking the total numbers, so that this comes under the quantitative metrics. So we'll go in deep with all these key indicators and the metrics one by one. What are the classification of metrics? How the weightages are allocated? How to prepare the supporting documents for this? All the things in the next maybe tomorrow's session. I'll close this. Let us quickly show one statistical analysis for ending this session. It is also an Excel file. This I prepared by myself only. So you can see this. It is a criteria wise segregation is there. Key indication is there. You can see the key indicators are there. And the weightages for UG colleges, weightages for PG colleges for each criteria is given. So here you can see number of key indicators for each criteria. First, I'll show the detailed study of the number of metrics and the percentage of metrics allocated in the metrics as qualitative and quantitative metrics, QNM and QLM wise. In total, what is QLF? For example, I'll show only one: curricular planning and implementation. This key indicator contains totally three. Already we have seen three: 1.1.1, 1.1.2, 1.1.3. The three key IF metric is there. Out of that, 2 are QLM and 1 is QNM. So that overall curricular aspects criteria 1, which contains totally 8 QNM and 3 QLM. This is the number, total number. So overall 11 metrics are there. So same way in criteria 2, 9 and 7. So that 16 is there. So such that you can see the various allocations of QLM and QNM. The overall, this indicates the total number of QNM available in your SSR QAF. So out of totally 96 questions are there, questions or metrics. Out of that, 60 are QNM and 36 are QLM. So it is in number. In terms of percentage, out of it is 100 means okay, it is 96. So that's around 63% of questions occupied by QNM and 37.5% of questions occupied by qualitative metrics. So I already told you that quantitative metrics are evaluated by DBB process, that is online evaluation. Purely it is based on data and documents. So that nearly 62% of questions it shares the QNM process, and the rest of the 37 only shares the QLM process. This is about the number of questions. Suppose if you are going for the number of percentage of QNM and QLM based on the weightage allocated. So that is a very important analysis. See how many weightage is given to QNM, how many weightage is given to, how much is given to the QLM part. In that you can see each metric, how much weightage is given. QNM and QLM weightage percentage also is there. In criteria 1, you can see this is the criteria 1. QNM weightage is 75% of mark or weightage is allocated to QNM part. 25, only 25 is allocated to QLM. So you know that QLM is totally evaluated during your peer team visit. So that initially you should concentrate to prepare the QNM part. QNM is very important since it is directly reflected in your SSR DBB process. Same way, in all the criteria, you can see criteria 2, it is 64, 36%. In criteria 3, teaching learning also 64, 36. Criteria 3, it more 92% of weightage is allocated to QNM part. Then only 8% is given to QLM part. Then physical infrastructure criteria 4, 71, 29. Same way, 5th criteria student support 90 to 80. Student support almost 92% is evaluated by DBB only. So 42 and 58 for the 6th criteria. So almost 50-50 is given to management part. Then the final criteria, they have allocated 27 and 73. So final criteria is the best practices followed in any institution. That 75% is evaluated based on the peer team visit only. So in overall, in the percentage wise, you can see in QNM percentage as a weightage is 67 and QLM percentage in terms of 33%. I already told that it is 70-30. It is approximate one. So this 67-33 is for affiliated PG colleges. If it is autonomous college, this ratio will vary around 69 and 31. And if it is university, it may vary 72 or 28 like that. It may vary accordingly. So for affiliated colleges, it is 67% mark is given to QNM and 33% is applied to QLM. So from that you can understand that before the peer team visit, your around 70% of the SSR is already evaluated, so that only 30, rest of the 30 is evaluated by the peer team members. So each criterion wise metrics also it is there. If you prepare a file like this, and you can easily allocate each metric to the particular faculty member, so that you can prepare the data and supporting documents. So let us go for the presentation. I think we are at the end of the presentation. In tomorrow's session, we will cover the detailed study of the quantitative metrics, and the other part is qualitative metrics. I'll show a few examples how to prepare the data on documents, supporting documents, what are all the points to be noted while preparing that, and how you can get good good weightage or good marks in each metrics, and how the NAAC is evaluating your metrics. That and all we can discuss on tomorrow's topic. Right? With this, I'll close my presentation. And the hello, Mount sir.
Good morning, sir.
Morning. Yeah.
This is Dr. Ganesh Murthy. So I'm having some basic doubt. Sir, we have 10 UG programs and 6 PG programs in engineering, okay, and 7 PhD programs. Okay. Kindly let me know which manual should I use, either UG manual or PG manual. Almost, because all the data sets is contributed by UG program only, rather PG, because we have a very less, admission in PG.
Correct. I understand. So that now most of the institutions, even though they may offer PG programs, mostly the students are not there. Maybe past 4 to 5 years, the people are getting very low admissions in PG programs. But the problem is, while considering you are evaluating your metric, they will consider one thing. Definitely, you are coming under PG program. Since now presently you are offering PG, na sir?
Yes, sir.
Then yes, definitely you are coming under PG program only. Whether the students are there or not, that is in spite of that, you are coming under only PG. Problem is some of the metrics, the numerator value, not all the metrics, some few metrics in the numerator value, the number of programs offered is coming as denominator value. So suppose in that case, you need to add both UG and PG programs. Suppose you are offering 10 plus how many PG, sir?
6 PG UG.
Yeah, then the numerator comes in the denominator, it comes around 16. So suppose yes, if you have not offered, only 10 programs will come at the denominator part, so that you may get good weightage. But here no other go. You need to show that few things are there. Even our college also, earlier we offered a MBA program, but past 5 years we have not any get admitted. But NAAC will consider only whether you properly closed your particular program or not. That whether you have closed or you are running the PG program, sir.
Running PG program, but very few students are getting admitted.
It is happening to most of the colleges, sir. Mostly all the PG colleges now struggling to get admission in PG program. But no, don't worry, sir. This will affect only few metrics. In my knowledge, only 2 metrics it will come. It won't affect much. No problem.
Sir, another one doubt, sir. The number of courses you have to give in extended profile, that the thing will be calculated in formula in the denominator. So for the number of courses, we need to add PG courses also.
Sure, definitely. That means the number of courses offered in UG, PG. Since NAAC is going to evaluate the entire institutional details, so that definitely, so as for our college, only UG programs are there, so that we have given only 5 programs details and corresponding courses. Then you have to show your ME computer science or ME ECE or whatever the ME courses. Then according to that, that courses also you need to add. And no issue, sir. In that numerator, actually denominator this will come in the numerator part. When it comes to the metric numerator also, you are going to add the courses, particular courses for offered in the particular program, so that no issues, it will not affect the metric.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes, sir. Regarding in some colleges, they are offering PhD program under VTO.
Yeah.
Yeah, in that case, you need to consider that also, sir. Regarding same question.
Yeah, in our college also. See, earlier we considered that we are offering only UG programs, so that we are coming under UG colleges. Like that only we considered. But later on only we came to know that after that, now recently NAC has sent one circular also. So you have to prepare your SSR based on the whatever the category you are coming. So if you are offering UG and PhD, especially if you are offering PhD, that is more than the PG courses, so that it automatically considered as PG college only. So once your IAQ is accepted, then your SSR submission portal is enabled in your NAC portal, so that at that time you may see the whatever all the metrics available which is applicable to PG colleges only, it's shown to your NAC portal.
No, sir. In my question is, in our college we have UG. We have UG.
Yeah.
PG also and PhD also. So how to go?
In that case also it is considered as PG, sir.
PG one, sir.
Definitely PG. Even though you are not offering PG, it is considered as PG.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Probably tomorrow we'll discuss. Hello, Mohan sir.
Yes, sir. We can finish it, sir.
Yeah, we can conclude, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the participants. Then tomorrow we can join at exactly the same time, 9:50 to 10 a.m. Then we can discuss furthermore about the preparation of quantitative and qualitative metrics. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.